I do know there is a tail there, though.
He's reversed me.
Is this a joke or is this a fucking real life account? Huzzah! Welcome along to Not For Radio. Your host, Jay Reeve, and today joined by Big Westy Lee as Duncan Hyde is down south for his 40th birthday celebrations, blowing 1 million arseholes where he flew into as well.
Yeah, the Timu Action Bronson. like if Jelly Roll, Action Bronson, and fucking what's his name, Teddy Swims had a love child in prison. You get me.
That is a hell of a depiction.
I met Teddy Swims when he was here last year, and he did a little private acoustic show. And I said to him, I was like, hey, Brian. My wife was taking photos, and I was like, hey, Brian Lee, nice to meet you. And I was like, I had to come up and say hello, bro. People tell me that we look the same. And he looked at me and goes, fucking love that for you. And I was like, yes. And then he's like, nah, bring it in, bro. Bring it in. No, it was great. It was good.
He's a good man. I can't believe that was crazy. That was basically just before the big jump off. Like, as soon as he did that, he played to like fucking 30 people in the pavilion here, and then he just went absolutely bananas.
Crazy.
If you're new to the Not For Radio podcast, I'm going to warn you right now. There's a few swears in it. We get a little bit colourful with our language, and we talk about all sorts of stuff. If you've been here before, you know the drill. Nothing in this podcast will be happening without the help of Jim Beam. Jim Beam embodies over 230 years of tradition, making every sip a taste of history, and the world's #1 bourbon and New Zealand's #1 spirit. Thank you very much to the team at Jim Beam for making this all happen. A big old pod today. Big old pod today for you.
Ever wonder what it'd be like to slice into your leg with a machete and then use a makeshift tourniquet whilst in Hawaii? No, because that's not a normal thing to have wondering about, but that happens.
All the details now. You can get your hands on the Hunter's Element in the Wild tea. Danny's Nan, she's a bad lady. Keep the hammers away from her. The Chicken Rooter, a true battler that lived 3 lives in one night.
Yeah, and we go into detail on our stag do's. Well, the details that matter, if you will. You know, mine was quite tame.
And we're going to be starting up the pod with a war story about what it's like to chuck a couple of disco biscuits down the gullet, smoke a bit of the old devil's lettuce, and then throw yourself out of a plane. But before that, a massive congratulations to the Sniper Elite. You've managed to get yourself some team kit, and this week it's the form of Wobble's book, who we had on the pod not long ago. Stee Maguire, that's actually the name. Stay Maguire.
Great name.
Sam Jefferson, Mark Korski, and Lisa Rogers, congratulations. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. This episode's on YouTube if you want to see how shit we look in real life. This is the freshest I've felt on Friday in quite some time.
Mate, I feel like I look great. Remember, if you're mentioning a keyword, also send us your address and size, and you can hit us up at all of our links. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can get that all sorted out. Should we climb in?
Yes, let's.
Attention, snipers! Gear up and hold your positions. It's time to load up some war stories. Your tales from the front line, brought to life. Prepare to fire.
Huzzah! Hoo-ha! This one here is from Laz in Papamoa, which is in the Bay of Plenty, North Island. Great spot.
One of my favourite places in the world.
What makes it so appealing? Is it the holiday park for you?
So before my mum passed away, we went to Papamoa every year for close to a decade, and that's where we would spend the first week of January.
Yeah.
So it was incredibly special, and I was brought up in a very religious household. My dad is a very staunch man of faith, not staunch as in I'll give you hiding, but staunch in his belief and staunch in his faith. And it was just such a wholesome time, because the camp that we'd stay at was the Pacific Park Christian holiday park.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit further inland. It's not beachy, is it?
Nah. So so you have to walk for about 5-10 minutes to get to the beach, which obviously I hated, but it was sweet once you get there, sit down. Can't tell me I can't drink beers on this beach, your Pacific Park Christian camp.
Carry me, Lord, to the beach.
But mate, it was just such a good time. Like it was wholesome, family fun, real cup filling stuff. And then a couple of years ago, I got beaten up at a wedding out in Papamoa, which kind of put a dampener on it. And I haven't been back since, but I need to go back there with the whānau to kind of smudge that out of my record.
Yeah, when I was growing up at the mountain, so it basically goes Mount Maunganui, then Papamoa, or Mount Maunganui, Arataki, or Manu, Arataki, then Papamoa. Papamoa used to be quite a distance in between it. So a friend of ours, she lived at the beginning of Papamoa on the beach there, so like early doors. And when we used to go to parties at her place, and we're like, fuck, it's so far away. Oh my God, I can't believe you live this far out. This is
the
wild.
boondocks.
Literally, I think it's 8 kilometres from Papamoa to the actual mount itself, to Mowal. So it wasn't that far at all. And we used to just booze cruise it as teenagers and be fuckwits. Great little spot, absolutely exploded. Almost no gaps now. Used to be quite a lot of farmland through there, and it stretches almost all the way down to Makatū. So if you are ever in the vicinity visiting, great way spot. And the campground, top 10 campground, fucking hisses. Cabins right on the beach, really, really slick. They've done it up.
Great.
They just pumped millions of dollars into it. Anyway, I digress.
Couldn't afford that top 10 one, but still.
This is where Laz originates from, Papamoa. And this is, I won't even give you the category, I'll just read the motherfucker. Fellas and fellette, here's a war story for you. It's a bit of a David Longy, but here goes. You can call me Laz, because that's my fucking name. I've sifted through the back catalogue and heard a couple of segments, Free Falling and Drugs Are Bad, MK, and I thought I'd share my story, which is a bit of a mashup of the both. Several years ago, a group of mates decided it was time to give skydiving a go, and being a bit of an adrenaline junkie, was keen as a fox in the hen house. I'd stayed the Friday night at a small studio just out of Taupo with a band of boys, and as we finally polished off a couple of tracks, to lay down. Oh, literally was with a band of boys in a fucking band.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so
gotcha. Yeah. Making music.
Yeah, my mind was all over the place there, drug reference and tracks.
We've laid the tracks. We're good to go.
Yeah. The drummer, we'll call him Damo, because that's his fucking name, was also keen on a jump. So we got up, had a coffee and a dart to shake out the hangover, and jumped in the car and headed off to the airport. Just as we were leaving, he pulls out a little baggie of disco biggies. The size of a fucking odd fellow with a Mitsubishi symbol stamped into the top of them. And forces one down my neck. We head 20 minutes to the airport and sign in. Just chill over there and we'll call for you in about 10 minutes. Sweet as. Damo tells me to follow him, grabs a couple of the other boys we'd met, and heads out to the car park where he pulls out a fairly large stick of the old devil's lettuce to help calm the nerves. Fucking hell.
Wow.
After several large lungfuls, decided that'll do it. I'm starting to get a pretty good buzz on. Smash a quick couple of darts to help mask the smell and head back into the waiting tables. Shortly after, our group is called and we head over to start getting harnessed up and watch the safety brief. Shit's getting real. It's at this point the tandem master asked me if I've ever done this before, to which I reply no. In fact, it's my first ever time in an aeroplane. God. Really? He says, eyes widening. Quickly followed by a cheeky smile. Hopefully it's not your fucking last then, eh? A nervous laugh from me. Yeah, fucking hopefully. Reading the warning label on the back of your mate's tandem harness whilst a wave of E and a cloud of weed starts blocking out the sun in front of you, a 0 out of 5 stars would definitely not recommend.
God.
The plane arrives and we all start walking out. I say walking, but at this stage I could see my legs moving, but it didn't really feel like I was moving, more floating. Damo was first in the plane. I was second, followed by what seemed like way too many people for a plane of this size. Quickly becoming what I can only imagine the inside of a sardine tin feels like. Good thing I'm not claustrophobic, because this would have sent me into full fucking meltdown, which, incidentally, was on its way.
Jesus, I couldn't imagine anything worse.
The door goes down and we start rolling off down the taxiway, definitely on the way to peaking. I think our drummer has phenomenal timing. It's at this point, looking around in a daze, that I notice a rubber band on my harness with what appears to be some writing in Sharpie on the inside. I roll it around and see the capital letters, "Do not use." More confusion than fear at this point. I call out to my tandem master behind me. Dude, this rubber band says "do not use." Say what? He replies with a perfect amount of confusion and concern. I repeat, it's pretty loud in here. Do not use. He repeats my statement to the TM next to him, to which he replies, "Is that chute 3? Looking down, there's a big yellow 3 on my chest. During this conversation, we'd made it to the beginning of the runway, engines revved up, and started down the runway. It's at that moment I see the 3 that the ground starts falling away and fear takes hold.
Jesus.
Adrenaline overload, coupled with chemicals floating around in my skull, I'd hit the top of the fucking wave, just shy of chewing my own face off, and had begun my ascent to the moon, whilst simultaneously diving headfirst into hell. fear had its grip, and there was no way I was getting out of this fucking plane. I was lighter than a gymnastics spandex and had a white-knuckle grip on the window frame. We'd made it to 6,000 feet, which is halfway, and my Oscar-winning TMs decided that that was enough of a scare, and the joke was up. They knew it was my first time in a plane. Their jovial laughs and comforting words had fucking very little effect on my mental state. And I mean, it said, do not use. The next 6,000 feet spent talking me out of my hellhole, went in, and what felt like 2 breaths, and the plane levels out, the door opens up. For those that do not know, this sensation is extremely difficult to describe. It's kind of like going over the top of a hill too fast, or a mild version of a roller coaster, whilst simultaneously turning on cold air at about 1,000%. People start getting sucked at the door like an old school vacuum cleaner tube system. Thump, thump, thump.
It'll tell us 3,000.
Yeah. While my death grip has been transferred to my harness handles, my TM shuffles me closer and closer to the vacuum hole of death, and before I know it, I'm dangling outside the plane. Holy fucking shit. Look back for a quick photo, then I'm out. My stomach firmly stuck in the door. A few seconds later, I get the shoulder tap to let go of the harness and put my arms out, and my stomach catches up with me. It's just windy. We're not even getting any closer to the ground, I think to myself. The world starts spinning as we do some spiral turns, then back the other way to unwind. I wonder how many people spew during this maneuver. I think to myself, not me though. My iron gut is serving me well. My next thought, shit, hang on, it is getting closer. The next thing, it feels like someone's cranked on the handbrake and we're fucking feet down with the most beautiful parachute I've ever seen in my life, fully inflated above us.
Oh, God.
How was that? I hear from over my shoulder. I'd somehow forgotten English at this point, and the babble of indistinguishable drivel as a response. We're floating along gently for a few moments, then without warning, I hear a clunk, and then I drop down about 4 inches. Do not use flashes in my mind, and I reach up and grab my TM by the jumpsuit. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's okay, mate. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of breathing room. A few minutes later, legs up and touchdown. Wow, beyond words, I'm fizzing like never before. Spent the rest of the day looking at the sky in a totally different light, unable to find words to explain it to people. 10 years and over 100 solo jumps. I'm not skydiving anymore, but nothing. 10 years and over 100 solo jumps. Oh, shit.
So you got the bug.
Shit. I'm not skydiving anymore, but nothing will top my first ever time in a plane. Hope y'all enjoyed the yarn. Up the wires next season. Man.
I can't. Honestly, I couldn't imagine anything worse than being fucked with like that at a moment like that.
Yeah.
I've seen videos on my social media of people that have those. They're operating some fucking attraction, some fear, death-defying attraction where they pull a string. They go, all right, you ready? On 3, and they're like, yep, and they just fucking rip it and they go.
Yeah.
Or someone jumps and they go, wait.
Yeah.
And that entire. Do you know what that is? That's offering someone a little more than an experience. That's offering someone total perspective on life. They're going to wake up the next day and they're going to look at their shoelaces and they're going to tie them and think, fuck, I love a shoelace.
There was a awesome video of, and I won't name the site or the activity because there's only one operator in New Zealand. No. Fucking definitely don't go to that. But it was one of those things where they just go, oh no, wait. And the person mid-activity just fucking blacks out through pure fear. And then just out cold. Body just goes, shutdown mode. I don't want to be here for whatever's coming next.
Yeah, I'm out. Later, Bolt.
And basically they came to once it had all finished. So they pay whatever it is, a couple of $100 to enjoy this activity, only to fucking black out and not remember a thing of it. And all you can see in their videos when they go, wait, they just go, eyes wide, and then just fucking boom, lights out, crumple, fucking just ragdoll, blah, blah, blah.
You'd come to from that thinking you'd died.
Yeah.
And this is just, great, I'm in hell where I'm just fucking perpetually being dangled back and forth on a fucking yo-yo for the next fucking eternity. This is my purgatory. Great.
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way, and this is a completely unrelated activity, but Bungee has come a long way since the beginning, since AJ Hackett started it.
Mate,
and what they were doing was so impressive and is still so impressive how they operate and chew through the numbers at that rate. And We were
So you've done it? You've bungeed?
jumped all. Yeah, mate. Jumped all three,
holy
and
fuck,
yeah, well, it's fucking MTV. They make you do all that shit.
Yeah, okay.
So then we jumped all three in one day. So jumped the ledge, jumped the bridge, jumped the Nevis. So just
That's the canyon?
yeah, the Nevis is the big bad boy.
That's one of the biggest in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Macau's the only one that's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you go out into this little jump pod hanging out over this fucking massive Nevis range and you jump. It's awesome. Such a long time free falling. Scarier than skydiving purely because the ground rush that you get. Like you just go, I've been falling for a fucking long time and there's absolutely no purchase on my legs at the moment. And then it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And then you start feeling a little bit and then there's nothing. And then then it starts to pull up. And you go quite far. It's just like 180 meters or something.
It's ridiculous. It's mental.
Yeah, it's a big distance to fall. Very, very cool. But they were talking through how they are. So they were articulating, because third time, I was like, I'm just interested to see what the process is.
Yeah, sure.
And so when they're setting you up, there's two sort of what you would call jump masters and an observer that was kicking back. So they've got that person's job is to make sure that person is doing their job. So they don't even have a role. They've got a role themselves.
So they're not
autonomous in it.
They're not like a student doctor watching and learning the ropes. They're observing to make sure that everything's being done correctly.
Yeah, so it's a cross-check sort of situation where they're doing their job but not necessarily focusing on their role. They're focusing on what the other person's doing, and the other person is vice versa.
It's the triangle of accountability.
Yes, and then there's another person that kicks back and makes sure that all the shit's happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you not get into a fatigue situation where you're just like, fuck, I've had a few brews last night. You know how you can just smack it into autopilot?
Yep.
Like, I've turned up here and gone fucking left and gone, I don't even remember sitting down.
I don't doubt it.
A few times.
I've been there a few times. Yeah, when I worked weekends, that's what it was for me.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, shit, I just spoke for 4 hours. And I have no idea what's just happened. But yeah, they were really, like, there's so much going on. And I was like, how do you not fatigue out and just start to just fucking let shit slide? And they're like, because you can't, because we're forever told in training, the one thing that you miss can be like the thread that unravels the whole lot. They've got safety check and safety check and safety check and safety check in case that does happen. Like what happens if the fucking cord snaps or what, you know, like all the unlikely shit. That there is a fail safe in all of those things. But yeah, I just wouldn't want that.
Because one day, as shit as it is to think about, something like that may happen.
Mate,
that's what statistics are there for. Like they say, you're more likely to get kicked to death by a donkey than die in a plane crash. Some motherfucker's been kicked to death by a donkey.
yeah.
That's happened.
I know. There is a chick that had that happen to her in Zimbabwe, I think it was. The fucking cord snapped and she just went into the drink, and she went into the drink with like 30 kilos of fucking rubber on her legs.
Yeah, waiting. Yeah,
that just fucking pulled her down and missed the boat. And it looked her, and not to mention fucking Zimbabwe. Like, there's fucking crocodiles the size of this room there. And shit, you know.
A mosquito could have bit you on the way down and you died.
Mosquito looks like a sparrow.
Holy hell.
So that wasn't pretty.
I wasn't allowed to bungee. So on my stag do, they took me to my boys took me to the Auckland Harbour Bridge to do the bungee there. And that's when those stringent checks became readily apparent to me, because one of the guys was looking at my legs trying to put the thing on. He goes, mate, what the fuck's wrong with your legs? And I went, I've got a club foot, bro, because my legs are different sizes. And he was like, oh, mate, you can't do this.
They couldn't even put you in the harness one.
Well, no, they did, but I couldn't bungee. So my claim to fame is that I've done the Harbour Bridge bungee, but it wasn't a fucking head first, Jesus Christ pose, fucking Silence of the Lambs, mangina tuck dive on my stag do.
Yeah.
It was just the old dug, boop, bang, straight into the drink.
That's better.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was, but it would have been nice to have the absolute shit scared out of me, because height's not my thing. Ground rush, not my thing. Water is an element and it must be respected.
Yeah.
So I was the first one to go because I was the heaviest. So, and it was my stag do. And they're like, are you going in the water? And I was like, no. And all I hear from behind me is, the fuck you're not, mate. And so I ended up going in, and I'm standing, and I don't know if you've ever been stood underneath a bridge over a harbour. It's fucking windy out there.
Yeah.
And I was so cold. I had no change of clothes, no towels. And because I'm 4 or 5 sizes bigger than everyone else, no one could give me their jumpers or anything. My old man ended up giving me his scarf, which was real helpful.
Massive.
Yeah, well, fucking wasn't, but
stag do's and that stuff. We've got my business partner's stag do coming up, and he's just adamant. He's like, nah, not having it. We're in our fucking 40s now. We're not doing that shit. This is his first time getting married, and it was like, there's two ways that this is going to go. You can agree to do something, or we fucking kidnap you and it's just going to be shit. And like, we don't care. The wedding is for the wife. The stag do is for the fellas. And that's how it fucking is always operated.
But the stag do, I think these days is getting a lot more respectful than it has been. Like nothing bad happened on my stag do. I didn't lose any body hair. I didn't put myself in a position that my future wife wouldn't have been happy to find out about. Like, I mean, let's be honest, the stag do's for the motherfucking boys. The stag do's not for the groom. I remember hearing stories about people getting shrink wrapped naked to telephone poles.
Yeah.
And I said to my sister-in-law when I was planning my brother's fucking stag do, I was like, hey, is there anything that's off limits? Like, is there anything that, because I'm really close with my sister-in-law. And I was organising the motherfucker. So I was like, what's not okay? And she goes, I don't want any private strippers. And I went, what's a private stripper? She goes, I don't want anyone at my house, in my garage. Like, if you guys end up at the strippies later, that's okay. I don't care, but I don't want any private strippers. I don't want any shows or anything like that. And I was like, okay, no, don't worry about it. Yeah, mate.
Private strippers.
Yeah, but yeah, cancel that. Tell Christelle we'll talk again soon. No, but you know, I mean, I think I got told on my stag do. My brother pulled me aside first thing in the morning, and he was like, mate, don't be a dick today. Don't say no to anything.
Yeah.
He said the worst thing you're going to have to do is probably drink a beer.
Yeah.
You know, or drink something alcoholic. He goes, the worst thing that's going to happen because of that is you might vomit.
Yeah.
And I did. And it was fun. We had a great time. It was fantastic.
Mine was
Christelle made it up to us in spades.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail just purely out of
cucumber sandwiches and chamomile tea.
Yeah, it was. But I remember talking to a past girlfriend from when I was like a teenager, and her father was, I don't even know how we got onto the subject, and her parents had separated, and so it was a conversation with her mum, and her mum was telling us about how, so her father was a mechanic, and he basically, same thing, kidnapped from work. So this is in Tauranga. So they grabbed him. He was underneath a car in a crawler, and they fucking yanked him out. And they're like, and all of his mates were there, and they're like, now we're on a fucking stag do. And so they basically just stripped him out of his overalls, so he was just walking around in his undies. And this is like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Into pubs, it was kind of like everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? It's a stag do, whoa! And then everyone would just buy him piss and tip beers on him, whatever it was. Yeah. And then, the conclusion, pretty much, the conclusion of the evening, which was like 6 o'clock closing. So they basically held him down and got 2 pots of nugget and nuggeted him from head to toe in black nugget, and then tied him up and put him on a logging train to Tokoroa, which is like fucking 3 hours drive away. And so they just left him on the train. And this was 2 days before his wedding. What? And I was like, how the fuck is that even funny?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's not. But it's hilarious.
But no cell phones then.
Yeah, yeah.
No, like, and then it was kind of like, then when they were divaning the things, they found him in a carriage and were like, oh, fucking one of the lads on stag, they put you on the train. And he's like, Tauranga, and they're like, oh, you'll see if one of the logging trucks is heading back up that way and you can just hitch home. In his undies, fucking nuggeted.
In his undies, fucking nuggeted.
Hello, Legend. We're just pausing the podcast for a moment to let you know that we have some great news.
Yes, Uber One is paying you to be a member.
Yep, if you're new to Uber One, you'll get $10 of Uber cash back each month you remain a member until the end of the year.
You'll also get access to loads of other additional savings and perks across Uber and Uber Eats, like a 5% Uber credit on all rides or $0 delivery fees on eligible orders.
How good. Sign up to Uber One for $9.99 a month and it will basically pay for itself. Ends 31st of December. T's and C's, minimum spend and fees apply.
Have you been hurt or injured in an accident that was or wasn't your fault? You have? Well, fucking come on in. Pull up a chair, sunshine, and tell us all about it, because this is not for radio. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Who put this one through?
This is
is this a J Reeves special?
Yeah. So this is a bloke who's famous. We've got this affinity with Australians, but this bloke is about as Australian as it gets. If you've watched the TV series called like Outback Bull Wranglers or something, I think Coxie, Brad Cox, who we've had on the podcast, knows this guy. Or one of the lads, the two flogs might know him, or Knuckles might know him. One of those lads knows this guy anyway. So there's up north in Northern Territory of Australia, they've got these wild bulls, and they drive around in these converted fucking Land Rovers, Land Cruisers with like a big mechanical headlock out the side of it. So they get these bulls, they run up alongside them in these things, put them into a headlock, tie them to a tree, round them all up and fucking sell these things. It's quite a profitable business. But you can imagine there's generally some wild shit that goes on. And it's all part of the rodeo setup, and like they're just a different breed of human. And this bloke here in particular, I don't know his name. I probably shouldn't have been so lazy and actually found it. It's gone.
It looks like he reeks of a Trevor or a Robbo.
Have you got it?
I've got it here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
disappeared on me.
No, that's all right.
So yeah, just have a listen to what when you say that's living, this is his version of it.
You're going to lose a bit of weight and that, you're out of thing, you might have a heart attack or something like that. We say, well, I've lived 3 lifetimes already. And they say, well, how do you figure that? And I said, well, here's an example. I went to a rodeo once as the rodeo clown, and I got there at night. I think I had 7 fights in 5 hours. I only won 3 of them. My jaw broke and nose broke and both my eyes blackened. So I got into a bit of marijuana and a couple of bottles of rum, and that dulled the pain. That didn't work out. I ended up shitting myself. And then ended up sleeping with about 3 different girls over the weekend, and rode a wild horse and a bucking bull and come home again. Most people haven't done that in a lifetime, have they? Not many people have really rode a few wild animals and shit themselves and had 7 fights. Most people haven't had 7 fights in their life, have they? No, that's living, mate. That's living.
That
Hey, do you know what?
that is fucking living.
The last 20 seconds of that video, he's sat there with the smuggest look on his face as well.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a joke I got told over the
I
weekend.
think his name, so his name is Kurt Hammer.
Kurt Hammer.
Kurt Hammer, and he is on the TV show Outback Ringer. If you wanna check it out, it's fucking very good. He's another yarn of him talking about being surrounded by dingoes after breaking his legs after crashing his motorbike in the middle of the outback. Fuck, he's lived. He is.
Some people,
Kurt Hammer, what a champion.
Some people are just destined to have a TV show for them.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a joke actually. A friend of mine told me it on the weekend. He's it's a farming joke. You grew up in farming,
Yes.
in the farming scenario, in the farming area. So he's talking. There's one guy, and he gets a new farm hand on his farm. And he's like, and he's talking around. He's like, yeah, sweet, mate, come and do this. We'll do this. I'll sort you out. Have you worked with animals before? And he's like, I spent a bit of time in India where cows are worshipped. So I have a real respect for cows. And he goes, oh, mate, that's great. And he goes, well, what we do over here, if it's your first time on a farm, is you jump into the milking shed, and you root one of them. And the guy was like, oh, I don't know about this. And he's like, no, mate, we've all done it, mate. Like, we've all done it. Like, it's just part and parcel of how we do things out here. And he's like, I don't know. And he goes, I'll tell you what, mate, I'll give you half an hour. I'll go away, and I'll do some stuff around over with the fucking hay and the silage. I'll come back, and I'll see how you get on. He's like, oh, fuck, okay. Shit, all right. So he takes this cow, and he fucking walks it over to this fucking fence, and he puts its head between the fence, and, puts a strap around his head and makes sure he can't run away. Gets a hay bale up behind him and fucking, props himself up on this hay bale. Takes his pants down, and he's trying to fucking sort of, you know how the tail fucking gets in the way.
I don't know how it gets in the way. I do know there is a tail there, though.
He's reversed me.
Is this a joke, or is this a fucking real life account
No.
of you on a farm? I've got a joke for you.
No, it's not. But that's see, well, this is one of those rare occasions where the joke has been switched around on me there, Jay, because what you're supposed to say, I told it to Tegan the other day, and I was like, you know how the tail kind of gets in the way? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, you do you?
Oh, okay.
And she was gutted as. But tell you what, if this makes it into the podcast, something's gone incredibly wrong. But that's a fun one to do, isn't it?
Definitely does.
Bestiality not condoned.
Classic.
But we do know that there's a tail there. Which
Yeah.
is,
Snipers, reload. Another war story incoming. Eyes on target, scopes dialed in. Let's see who hits the mark.
fucking. Oh, God. Okay.
Fuck, there's some fucked people out there, eh?
There 100% is. There has to be. Oh, there's. Yeah, no. Don't worry about it.
Before
Yes, go.
No, we'll get up. We'll go after the war story. Go after the war
Okay,
story.
all right,
I'll bring you up to date with my war that I'm having with the council.
Oh, please do. Please do. All right, so this one is from Brock from Oahu in Hawaii. Sick. Category injury. Hey guys, been listening for a while and figured I'd throw a story in the crazy-ass book that is not for radio.
Can I just say, this is possibly our first war story out of Hawaii.
From Hawaii.
Which is fucking sick. Mahalo, my bro.
Welcome in. A few years back, I had a bit of an accident involving a knife/machete large enough to get a fucking hellmate out of Crocodile Dundee. It starts on a Saturday morning. So, wake up, feeling fresh, make some coffee and sit outside enjoying the sunrise. Beautiful. Brother comes out and says, we're going to do some yard work, mainly some tree trimming. So I say, fuck, yep, why not? I'm in. He's running the pole chainsaw death machine thing while I'm cleaning the limbs with previously stated big fuck-off knife. Everything went good for about 3 hours. Then I started getting gassed as the sun is now beating us senseless. Instead of, doing the logical thing like taking a break, drinking some water, having some rest in the shade, I say, fuck it, let's press on. Got to the point where I thought to myself, man, I really need a break. And about 1/10 of a second later, boom! I feel my entire left shin and calf feel wet. I looked down to see I'd entirely missed the branch and I was chopping instead, decided on a bit of unscheduled self-surgery. Now I'll say, I fucking hate blood. It just makes me twist, and seeing my own blood fucks me up even more.
Oh, man.
I immediately scream for a tourniquet, or tourniquet, however you choose to say that, as I know my stepdad has one in the house, and this wasn't just a little cut. I had run the knife into my left calf just below the side of my shin bone, and looks like someone turned on a fruit punch fountain at a party. At this point, I'm losing my shit. For some reason, I ran towards the house, then back out, coming to my senses, all while my family is losing their minds. You know in first aid training where they tell you no matter what, keep the victim calm? Yeah, well, that went out the motherfucking window. I then calmly asked my brother to take his shirt off, and I needed to make myself a tourniquet of my own now. Tied it off, put a stick through it, and twisted with all my might. Blood wasn't stopped, but was slowed to a manageable drip. Load into my brother's truck, and we were flying through the neighbourhood at about 80, 90 kilometres an hour. Residential streets, mind you. Headed to the hospital that's about 5 minutes away, and if you're driving like a sane, contributing member of society, that my brother was not. Nearly to the hospital, my brother looks at me and yells through tears, "You're not gonna die!" Like, Jesus, fuck, wasn't thinking that, but thanks for the pep talk, mate.
I was nowhere near that, but now I'm starting to now I'm second guessing.
I had a hankering for a Big Mac and a durry. Get to the hospital and my left leg is basically immobile. My body shuttered off and I can't stand on it. I have nothing to stand on. My brother, half fireman, carries me into the ER. Quick side note, this hospital is a geriatric and paediatric hospital. Mainly so the whole in between is fucked. I'm leaving a huge trail of blood and the ER desk lady has the nerve to ask, "So what's the issue today?" Casual as fuck. While me and my brother are covered in blood, my brother starts screaming at her and I get shoved into a wheelchair by a pretty hot nurse. Then got my own room. I'm answering questions and all kinds of shit. They're putting IV bags in me, taking out my wallet one-handed so they can see my insurance before they do anything. America, right?
I find that fucking fascinating. Anybody that's listening to this in the States, if you come to New Zealand and you're just traveling through here and you fuck yourself up in the most unimaginable way, they just take you to the hospital in an ambulance. You don't get charged a fucking penny.
Yeah, we got you. Mate, America. All while stood there holding my makeshift tourniquet. I then began to lose strength, mainly now because I can see the blood and start asking the head ER doctor and every nurse in the room for a tourniquet to replace mine because my strength is fading. They all look at each other puzzled, saying, "Tourniquet back and forth like the fucking seagulls from Finding Nemo?" You guessed it. Tourniquet, tourniquet, and the whole ER. At this point, I'm demanding they do something, and the doctor tells me, "Oh, sir, it's not that bad. You can release your tourniquet." I release tension, and it's like fucking Niagara Falls. It opens up, blood everywhere. They wrapped a bedsheet as a makeshift tourniquet, then clean the wound and stitch it up. Fucker wouldn't stop bleeding for a while, probably from all the alcohol in my system from the night before. Heavy night on the terps. After I'm stable, not pissing the strawberry Kool-Aid everywhere anymore, the nurse then comes in to check up on me. Yes, the hot one. She tells me when I came into the ER, she had just clocked in 5 minutes before then and was the most amount of blood she'd ever seen in her 10-year career so far.
Wow.
Safe to say, day fucking ruined. Anyways, recovery went good. Couldn't walk without crutches for about a month, but all's well that ends well. Keep up the good work. From a pebble in the middle of the Pacific, Brock. And there is, I looked.
You got it.
I looked. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Oh, it'll be on my thing.
Yeah, oh, God.
No, it's not. Okay.
Okay, come here.
Just look. Whoo, yeah.
That does not look fun.
It's a selfie. It is a selfie.
Oh.
Speaking of hot nurses, I was at had a meeting this morning.
Go on.
And I was sitting there chatting away with my buddy. Who, long story short, we've got this business deal we're putting together. And I look across and I catch this lady's eye, young lady's eye, and I'm like, "Fuck, you look familiar." Anyway, so mid conversation, chatting away, and look back again. She's still looking at me. This is a fucking pretty big place that we're in. Fucking very good looking girl. I was like, still got it.
Never lost it.
And then I was sitting there, and then it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, fuck me. And looked again, and then she smiled, and then as she was paying and left, and I was like, fuck, that was the sonographer that scanned my nut. Never seen her in the wild. And I think there was like a puzzled look of her going, fuck, I know that face, and then the double take, and then I was like, fuck, it's the international fucking 9 domestic 15 chick that scanned my nut at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And how'd she look without a system full of fentanyl?
I was absolutely adamant that I would never cross paths with her again in a lifetime. And it's been fucking 4 weeks or whatever, and here we are.
Oh, worst possible scenario, that one for me.
Well, fuck me sideways and call me Fred. It's Jay and Dunc on Not For Radio.
Thanks, Fred. If you didn't already know, we're doing a Hunter's Element Movember tea, which a large number of Sniper's Nightmare have got their hands on. It is a way of raising funds for Movember and creating high-fizz walking, talking billboards for Men's Health. These are shipped internationally, which is awesome, and I know a large number of people have already got theirs delivered in Australia. I've seen a couple pop up in the UK, one in Canada, I think, as well, and a few starting to hit the States, which is massively appreciated. But if you wanted to check them out, we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's hunterselement.com. If you're international, hunterselement.co.nz if you're a Kiwi, and you just search In the Wild, and it'll pop up. It's also we'll put the link, I can make it nice and simple, in the show notes, so it just goes straight to it, but it's in the apparel. As soon as it pops up, look at all men's apparel, and it's in a high-vis orange, high-vis yellow, in a t-shirt version, and also in a singlet version as well. So if you are wanting to show everybody that you give a shit about Men's Health, then grab one of those.
And do you know what? They're actually, I was thinking, for a limited run press of clothing, I remember, because I've been involved with this show for 3 years now, and you've done it every year, and I am constantly out. It doesn't matter where I am. I'll be at Costco, I'll be at the park, I'll be at a beach, I'll be somewhere, and I'll see someone in a bit of high-vis fizz Movember kit with Hunter's Element, and nothing's said. There's just a look between two people, and there's just the old, yeah, mate, you know.
Yeah,
and you know.
Mate, I've seen a fist bump first hand by two strangers wearing them, 2 different years as well, in a Bunnings, just passing each other in the Bunnings fucking aisle, and just a fucking cheers, mate. And that's all it said, which I absolutely love. So if you haven't already got one, it'd be great if you could spare a couple of dollary-doos. They're in the South Pacific peso, otherwise known as the New Zealand dollar. So great buying for Christmas presents.
Absolutely. Do you want to jump to this piece from Danny Carroll that's been fired through to us?
Yes.
Yeah, this one. I caught this on the old Sniper's Nightmare Facebook page, and had a little bit of a bloody chuckle, so I'm glad it's made it here.
So my name's Danny Carroll. As I've mentioned previously, I'm definitely adopted. My mum says I'm not, but there's no way I'm part of this fucking weird-ass family. My mum's cousin Peter came to visit today, and I took some time to say hello and listen to some old people, Grandpa Simpson stories.
Back in my day, we tied a yellow onion to your belt, which was the style at the time. It wasn't called a penny, it was called a threepence.
And they both had old photo albums, and these pictures went back to the 1930s. Fuck, that's pretty cool. As the olds flicked through the albums, they pointed to various people that I'd never heard of, and they all came with a, that's Bert, he was a milkman, and he was married to your great-great-grandmother's second cousin, Mabel. I'm nodding knowing that I've got the pre-existing excuse already loaded up that I had to go and pick my son up from school. And the very last picture before I'm about to leave, there's a picture of a wedding. And Cousin Peter points at a woman and says, that's your nan. Oh, yeah, how strange. She looks about 16 and 75 all at the same time. When someone I finally knew was pointed out, Peter continued, you see the lady stood behind your nan? Well, that is your nan's Aunt Aggie, and she was hung for murdering 3 men with a hammer. Fuck. Woo-wee. Wait. You just made me listen to an hour of 15th cousin removed insurance salesman shit, and my great aunt was Jackie the fucking Ripper. I look at my mum, all the rubbish pointless stories, and Freddy fucking Krueger slipped your mind. Definitely going on a deep dive of old Auntie Brain Basher, and we'll report back up the wires. And whatever you do, don't let lead me to tools.
Oh, mate, I love that.
Have you got any? There was a chick here at work who, once again, will remain anonymous, and she was telling me about her grandmother and her grandfather, who was a bit of a naughty bastard, not a hundy upstairs, and her grandmother took her mother maybe, and legged it with the kids, and shacked up with another fella.
Okay. Common.
And her grandfather, found out where they lived, turned up, stabbed the guy to bits, who was the stepfather, and then ran a fucking knife over her grandmother's throat. I'm talking ear to ear.
Ooh.
And the grandmother survived.
Ooh.
And the most fucked part is that her mum, because the grandfather went to prison for it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The stepfather, or the step-grandfather, he survived the stabbing, got fucking peppered though. And the grandfather that did the stabbing went away to prison. And I was like, fuck, how'd you find out about that? And she goes, well, I only found out about fucking 3 years after she'd send us to stay with him for Christmas holidays.
Jeez.
Imagine that, going to stay with a fucking convicted attempted murderer.
It's giving someone a fucking Colombian necktie. No, I don't have any murderers in the family. No attempted murderers in the family. The closest thing to danger that's from my family. So my grandma, my Oma, I found this out when I was putting together her eulogy. She passed away in August, and I think you guys talked about it on the podcast, eh? Her celebrant that was going to do the funeral ended up having a heart attack like 3 days before.
Yeah.
And we were like, bro, we haven't heard from this guy. What the fuck's going on? And then he called us from ICU hospital bed, and he'd had a heart attack, and he's like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I ended up doing her funeral. And we were sitting down writing, did a fucking great job. There was no better man for the job. And I ended up writing her eulogy with my uncle and my brothers and sisters. And turns out, so my grandma went to Hamilton for the day. She's Cambridge, not far from Hamilton, about a 25 max 30
10-minute drive.
Max. Yeah, well,
It's now become a fucking suburb of Hamilton.
yeah, it's great. Yeah, Hamilton West. And she. Oh no! She was visiting my uncle and auntie up in Whangarei, which is the North Island, and then she got a bus back down to Hamilton, and then she was waiting for a bus back to Cambridge, and she saw these 2 people, and they had big rubbish bags with them, like black sacks, and she just having a cigarette and got talking to this couple, and they said that they'd been kicked out of their emergency state housing in Hamilton, and they had nowhere to stay, and Oma, my grandma being my Oma, was like, come and stay with me. And so she jumped on a bus back to Cambridge and had these people in her house and like gave them a room, beds, showers, food, everything. And then a couple of days later after that, actually maybe a couple of weeks actually, she gets a knock at her door from the police. And they were like, hey, we'll call him Fred. She's like, hey, is Fred blah, blah, blah here? And she's like, Fred? No, I haven't seen Fred in a couple of days. And she was like, oh, okay, well, he's just done a runner from somewhere, and this is what he's put down as his last known place of address. And turns out old mate was fucking wanted for a string of burglaries and meth deals and aggravated robberies all up and down the Waikato. And she was like, I left these people in my home. I went out to go and run my errands, and they were at my house. They didn't rob me or take a thing. And I was like, fuck all, man. How can you... she's not alive now, but I'd said, how the fuck can you be so stupid? To be fair, she lets me in her house, which is... it's pretty...
I was going to say, fucking pot, kettle black.
Fuck, it was good. Some good pot. Happy days. All right, should we wrap this bad boy up?
Obviously, a massive thanks to Jim Beam for bringing the podcast to us, Not For Radio, and everybody, well, obviously all of you for listening as well. But without Jim Beam, from backyard get-togethers to the post-match bevy, raise a glass to good times and great company with a bourbon that's best enjoyed together. Jim Beam, best enjoyed together since 1795. And with that, we bid you farewell. Monday is a public holiday here.
That it is.
So for the Sniper Elite, we'll probably try and cobble something together. And then next Thursday, Friday, myself and Dunc and you.
No, I'm here. Tegan and I will run the ship. We will probably do something.
We're going to be in Melbourne for Oasis, which we're thoroughly looking forward to as well. So whatever you're doing across the globe, have a fantastic fucking weekend. It's great to have you with us.
Yeah, so you go to Oasis Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're back Sunday. I leave Monday, and then I've got that whole week off. My birthday week.
Brilliant.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, happy days. Great to have you, and we'll catch you again when we catch you again.